Hey YouTube! Everyone can play music. I'm going to teach you how in about 30 minutes. I'm going to be using an iPad for this, and before you go clicking away saying, I ain't got an iPad, let me try to sell you on one real quick, okay? This is the cheapest way to get into playing music. You see, I got all kinds of hardware around here. This is the cheapest way to do this, okay? This $5 app has 4 instruments inside of it, okay? And if you were to buy the hardware versions of these instruments, like used on Craigslist, it'd be like $750 to $1,000 each, okay? So you get 4 of those for $5, and you can get an iPad 1 for like $250 on Craigslist. So this is absolutely the cheapest way to get into playing music, and I'm going to use technoBox2 to show you just the basics and get you going.
So once you've got technoBox2 loaded up on your iPad, you should be seeing a screen like this. We've got the demo song, and it's nice and funky, and it goes boom, 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 boom at you. But let's make our own music here, and I'm going to show you how to get into that without worrying about all the complicated crazy that you're seeing right now. Let's first load up an empty song by hitting the I in the top right corner, which will bring up the menu, and you hit Session Manager, and then Empty Song, and then Load, and then click anywhere on the screen to get out of that, and once again, and now you're back to the base here where it's got the performance controls, okay? And we're going to start off by lowering the volume on the synth part here, as well as here, and drum 2. And let's set ourselves to being in a loop, and set our length to 0, which is going to be just 1 bar of music here. And swipe to the left to bring up synth 1, and then swipe once again to get to drum 1. And now you've got the drum sequencer, and don't worry if I'm throwing weird jargon at you. Like, I'm going to say all kinds of crazy shit like sequencer and waveform and all kinds of stuff. Don't worry about it. You don't have to remember it now. I'm just going to keep repeating it, and hopefully some of it will get into your head somehow. So let's start off with the drums here. I'm going to hit the play button, so now we're in a loop, and you're not hearing anything because I haven't hit any of the numbers here. So let me hit 1 here, and you should have heard a kind of a thumping thing there, but you're not. There we go, we got a thumping. Alright, and I'm going to hit it here too. Alright, now we got 2 thumps. 4 thumps, dude. This is what we call a 4 on the floor. And I believe this is the 808 sound. You can load in your own samples into this. Alright, there we go. We got the 808 sound. Everybody loves the 808. Now, okay, we got our bass drum. Let's throw in a snare drum. And this would be the low tom, mid tom, high tom, but we're not going to worry about any of those. This is a rim shot. That's kind of fun. And these are the various cymbals, and open hi-hat, and closed hi-hat. And let's throw some open hats. You know what? That's not good. Let's stop doing that. Let's put some closed hi-hats. We've made music. We can get fancy here and throw in an open hi-hat on the last step here in the 16 steps. So we got drums. We're grooving. Let's go back to our synth here and start adding in a bass line here. Now right now, it's playing a series of 16 C notes. And you don't need to worry worry about all the various notation and chord progressions and all this other crazy shit that makes music complicated, okay? Because music does not have to be complicated. You can learn all of the various chord progressions that you're ever going to really need to know in about a month, okay? But you don't even need to know that in order to start playing some music right now. All you need to know is how a note is going to sound relative to other notes. So let me put myself into step 1 here, and I'm going to raise the octave of this C note on step 1. So now you hear I've got a higher whoop. I did not mean to push that. Now let's advance in steps by hitting the bottom right arrow key to the 9th step. And let's lower this C an octave. There, you're not hearing that too much. Let me throw a slide on that. Oh yeah! And all of the notes in between are going to have their own various pitches that you can play with. So we can throw in a D sharp over here on 12. Maybe another D sharp on 14. We got a groove going on. In order to understand synthesis, you need to think about waveforms. And the synthesizers here in technoBox make it pretty simple and straightforward because it's only got 2 of them. And these are 2 of the most important ones, though, the saw wave and the square wave. And you could honestly make, and people have, entire albums using nothing but these 2 waveforms. So by cycling this up, I've now changed the waveform to a square, and when it's in the middle, it's doing both. I want you to listen to this square wave now. You hear how it's got kind of a funky quality to it. And this has more of a fuzz going on. So it's a good way to try to remember the sounds of these waves. So the saw is fuzzy, the square is funky, but if that's too corny for you to remember, I got a mnemonic here for you. Now this song is starting to sound like you're getting ready to fuck her, but if we switch it over to a saw wave, it's really aggressive, right? It's like, fuck her! Okay, so, fuck her! Fuck her! And playing in between the 2 of them can be a lot of fun. Let me show you what some of the other knobs here can do. The tuning one will shift the tuning for that specific instrument. So you've got a tuning here for synth 1. That's shifting it up. When it's at full, it's going up a full octave. So it's like when we were hitting the up button or the down button, except now we're making all of the notes go up or down. And that's independent of any of the other stuff like synth 2. So we got that over here, and it did not affect synth 1. Let me turn off the drums so you can hear what the cutoff does. I should probably also turn off the resonance and envelope and all this other stuff. Alright, so listen to what the cutoff is doing here. You notice how that's also sort of affecting the pitch? And when we get really low, it's like it's, taking out huge chunks of frequency from the sound. Now we're just at this, like, really low rumbling, and I didn't affect the tuning of it at all. That's when I'm playing with the tuning, it's getting way, way low. you're cutting the frequency right at that point. So right now it's cutting it right in half. And right here, it's taking it way down. And up here, it's all coming through. There's no cutoff. Resonance is a bit trickier. You hear how that made the high end really come in a lot stronger? Well, it also does that down here on the low end. And what that's doing is shaping the cutoff point so it's like a peak. It makes the cutoff frequency, that part that we're chopping at, it makes that really bounce up. So you can get really aggressive with that. And the envelope mod will modulate the cutoff frequency. You see, as we're going along here, we're only a few minutes into this and we're already getting into some complicated shit, right? But you'll figure this out because it's all very intuitive. See, what's that doing? It's making it get crazy, right? But it's affecting the cutoff point by changing the cutoff point. It's doing one of these things. Except it's doing it way faster than that. See, that sort of sounds like what was going on here. And decay affects the speed at which the cutoff is being modulated. So, like right now at a moderate amount, it's kind of spiking that cutoff, and then it's sloping down. So, let me show you here. It's spiking it up here, and then bringing it down. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I was jamming there. So I wouldn't worry about accent and volume right now. I mean, obviously, you're going to need some volume, but don't play around with the accent just yet. Just try to get the basic idea here that of these first 6 things, where we're switching the waveform, and we're switching the tuning, as well as the cutoff, resonance, envelope mod, and decay. And leave comments on any questions that you have that you want me to go into on the next video. I was planning on going into greater depth on how to do the actual arranging and give you some tips on which of these various letters that you see down here are going to sound good together. That's it. Enjoy. In 15 minutes you're already playing music. Here we've already got you playing some basic stuff, and you can have all kinds of fun just tweaking this shit.